Welcome to Concrete Decor Presents. Today's podcast is about the application of decorative concrete in the construction of skate parks and how one company, Airspeed Skateparks, created world-class skate parks on the Oregon coast. We talk with Michael Dahl, who worked with Airspeed, helping them to incorporate many decorative concrete aspects into their parks. Airspeed Skateparks designs were principally created by Geth Nobles, Stephanie Moeller, and Chris Berry. We start by going to Reedsport, Oregon during the Loop Challenge. Here's Michael talking about the competition and the 360-degree full pipe.
The guy at Dreamland, he come down right after we got done building it, and the Thrasher magazine, everything was like featuring a pro, and he ended up being the pro, and he ended up doing the loop for the first time. It was pretty gnarly, but it was weird because it was only 2 years. It was only 2 years ago, and everybody's raving at it, and it was like this. I mean, it was kind of uncharted, but it was like this huge deal. And then 2 years later, have this competition. People are doing it like it's nothing, like it's just a kickflip.
Now I go to Waldport, Oregon, where Michael talks about the construction of this skate park and how decorative concrete came into the picture.
And you can see where Geth was picking off the concrete. We were going to go for the whole top of the paraboloid. After about the centerpiece of 8 feet, it goes up, and the other 8 or 7.5 feet is completely over vertical. So you're trying to stick the concrete upside down. And when the truck came and it was too wet from the start, there's just no way you're going to shoot it up there and have anything stick and fall out. You'd have to wait for it to actually set, in which case it would start clogging the lines, and to retemper it with water would weaken it to the point where it wouldn't be good to shoot it up. So kind of dealing with the nightmare and the catastrophe right there. That's actually how the black band ended up being. We had to cut parts of it out because it was the next truck we had. When you're trying to shoot concrete upside down and trowel it upside down, basically it sometimes doesn't work exactly how you want.
It sure looks smooth though. What you got here looks very smooth.
Yeah, it's just a hard trowel finish. Same thing they do on a garage floor or anything. Same deal, you're just doing it to a sculpted transitional piece. The thing is you can't run a power trowel over any of this. So it's what makes everybody so proud about it, is because you are actually not only stacking concrete on vertical and transitional forms, but every bit of it is hand troweled into a hard troweled finish. Anybody that has done concrete work can have an appreciation for that. There's a difference between getting down with your elbows and your wrists and polishing the concrete, every inch of it by hand in the time frame that you have, and running a power trowel where you can recover from a lot of stuff.
Well, look at some of the lines on this thing. It's like a sculpture.
Yeah, pretty much. That was the coolest thing, the intriguing part about the skate parks. It was a functional piece of art. It was a sculpture. Like everything was kind of ad-libbed and made up as we went along. I think
the design? No.
The design was, yeah. The paraboloid on this park wasn't even in the design that was sold to the city. Wow. This was something Geth he'd had under wraps. Everybody knew it was going to happen, but the city.
And they liked it.
Well, it was an additional thing. This is at cost. This came out of Airspeed's pocket. That's kind of the movement. That's what makes all the Oregon skate parks and the Northwest kind of skate park movement so great, is everybody was volunteering and taking money out of their pockets to make great parks. That's the reality. You're looking at least $2,000 or $3,000, if not more, of extra concrete work in a park that could have been straight out of Airspeed's pocket, and they added it in to make it what you consider a world-class park. It's a one-of-a-kind. That at that point, each park's got its own feature. It's got its own design and technique, and you can tell what crews and who's been working on what and what's going on. It's like anything with anybody's kind of a style in skateboarding or style in concrete or building parks. You can see signature features where you know what person was building what. That was the first actual stamp job that I got to do. I went out and got the Proline Appian cobblestone stamps and figured out which ones I wanted, and I was begging and pleading Geth to let me try them. And finally there was one little extra corner on the wall that we had done, and it was still time to stamp them, and I just begged him and asked him, come on man, just let me do this one little corner, let me do this one. And so he let me. That's where it all began, man. I started doing that, and he went crazy. He started digging it, so he wanted to go for this whole castle theme, and See, those stamps were made to go on flat work, so I made up and hand carved a bunch of stones and tested out the acid stain and everything else. Once they actually saw it, I had to buy all the equipment and get everybody excited about it. And then once Guest saw it, it was on. He was totally down and excited about it. We got to go for it, and then we built Guest vision. He wanted to do the crenellations and the castle theme and everything else, so I was super pumped. I had the stamps and had the deal, and so that's kind of how it started. And then from there, the tiles were a problem. Nobody really knew how to set tiles in the crew. I've already made all my own rubber molds and everything and figured out how to make the stamps, and I just go, oh man, we might as well make some tile stamps. Try that. I don't see why that wouldn't work. And I did most of the vertical details, stacking and shaping all the vertical concrete and doing the edge detail and all the coping and getting the bonk right and everything correct. So I figured, oh man, I'll make these stamps. And Reedsport was the first test run for that. That was the park after this one, and that's where the tile stamps started coming in. I just figured, oh man, we'll just do this and ex-nay the real tile that nobody knows how to do. That was a pretty wicked step we had. We kind of freestyled that one, just did up some really quick freestyle forms and just made them all the cobblestone rock. I was pretty stoked with that. Came out pretty realistic looking, like real organic, but it had a good rise, good step to it. Didn't trip you up or anything, but it had like the real stone look. And that was all done just with the 2 AB stamps that I had. I didn't have any floppies at that point or anything, so we were wherever we couldn't fit those rigid stamps in, we were just freestyling the stones out, make them all look like real stone. Came pretty good for the first shot. But that's the coolest thing about this, the skate park crew, and working with Geth and Chris and Melissa and the whole crew, is just the open-mindedness and not really be traditionally trained to keep everything straight and level. As long as it drains, as long as it functions good. In skate parks, that's really all that matters. So if it looks good, it is good. It doesn't have to be a square. It doesn't have to be a rectangle. When you've got good skaters, and that's how the good parks come out. These guys always test it. I mean, I skate, but I don't skate to this level. I think it's something these guys don't. Whenever they design this, it's their art piece, their sculpture, and it's a functional sculpture, so it has to work. And sometimes it doesn't. You can skate it in your mind as many times as you want, and that's what makes the great skate parks great. Is people like Chris and Geth that are designing them and skating them before they build them and while they build them and making adjustments where it matters. It's kind of how this stuff all happens, and it's a pretty cool thing to be part of when you got people that's that passionate about it.